Placement. I'm Sharonda Robinson, and I am pleased to welcome you to today's conversation related to workforce development in our community. So it's Monday, it's lunchtime, and we're just gonna get started. And I want to introduce, there's a person in the background, person or two in the background who are helping us move today's conversation forward. Carmela Green and Damian Pantoja, are you guys there?
Yes, we are. Hi, everyone. I'm Carmela Green. I'm a senior project assistant at Adiza Communications. Super happy to be here.
Everyone, I'm Damian Pantoja. I am a DC Communications Outreach Coordinator. I'm here to assist as much as I can.
Perfect. So I am gonna try to find myself back on here. All right, here we go. So again, welcome everyone. We're so grateful that you're here this afternoon. Workforce development is a critical part of a strong economy, and Workforce Solutions Capital Area's mission is to lead in the development of a world-class workforce. And the vision is that all people are productive and that our region is prosperous. In an effort to gather feedback from the community for the second iteration of the Community Workforce Plan, which we're calling the Higher Local Plan, we began holding engagement sessions at the latter part of August to provide an overview of the 4 strategies that are included in the plan. So we're back for the second half of this 8-part series to discuss the 3rd strategy, placement for the Higher Local Plan. And we so appreciate your participation and your input. I'm Sharonda Robinson, and I am your moderator today. So I want to just quickly go over the agenda. And again, welcome to everyone who's here. I'm going to do some quick introductions of our team members who are going to be walking us through the information around placement, the presentation, and then we'll have an opportunity for Q&A. And what we ask is that you raise your hand, that you put information in the chat. So why don't we start with that? We're going to introduce ourselves, but if you could also introduce yourself and let us know your name and the organization that you're with, we would greatly appreciate it. And I see Amber and Amanda are both here. And so Amber, I'll let you say hello, and then Amber as well.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amber Warren. I'm with Workforce Solutions Capital Area. I am the Director of Upskilling and Advancement, and look forward to presenting our Strategy 3 placement to you all this afternoon.
Thank you, Amber. Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda Pincock. I am with Austin Career Institute. I'm the Deputy Director. We're a technical training program that works very closely with Workforce Solutions to be able to provide grants to our students to get into living wage and better jobs so that they can take care of their families.
I was on mute. You'd think I'd know how to unmute myself by now. So wanted to just again welcome everyone and to say thank you for being here. And also to let you know that we're going to be using the Q&A function via Zoom. And so if you see down at the bottom of your screen, there's a little Q&A box there. So you can use that to put your questions in during the time that we're together. You can also raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question directly to our team today, and lower your hand if you will. We'll promote you to a panelist because this is a webinar format, so we can see your face and hear your voice, or we can just hear your voice if you'd like, and then you get to ask your question or make your comment. So that's how you use the features of today's meeting. We wish we could be there with you in person, and we hope to make this as conversational as possible. Workforce Solutions is very clear that this is a community-led plan. And so we want to hear from and gather insights from the community. So again, welcome. We are so grateful that you are here today. And the other thing that I'd like to make sure that you're aware of is that we have a microsite that we have been using to gather feedback on, and you'll see it here on the screen. Damian has already put the link in the chat. Damian, thank you. So actually that's the Zoom registration link, Damian. So we need the link to the workforce plan, what microsite. You can hold up your phone and you can scan the QR code right now. This microsite has all of the strategies, the 4 strategies there. Today we're focusing on placement, but you can also provide feedback to us on the other 3 strategies. And it has information on the workforce plan. Thanks, Damian, for getting that, getting the right link in there. And you can use that link as well as the QR code to go to the plan, see the different sections of it that we're going to be covering today, and provide us with your questions or your comments. And then we will have a team member today monitoring the chat. You met Carmela and Damian during the entire meeting, and they'll be able to help let us know about the Q&A. So again, before we hear from our presenter today, please place your name and organization that you're representing in the chat, and I'll take a look to see who's here. Let you all do that. And again, thank you for joining us this afternoon, for spending your lunch hour with us. And now I want to introduce you. Met Amber. Amber Warren has specialized in workforce development for the last decade. And as she mentioned, she's the director of upskilling and advancement for workforce solutions of the capital area. She moved to Texas from Tucson, Arizona. And she has been focusing on helping local companies establish effective talent pipelines through upskilling strategies. So she'll overview the placement portion of the community workforce plan and give us an overview. So Amber, I'm going to turn it over to you. You're in good hands, everyone.
Great, thank you. So strategy 3 is placement, or how can we connect employers with local talent to fill entry-level and middle-skilled jobs. The other components of the plan include awareness and enrollment, and strategy 2 being training. So the third component of that is, how do we get those individuals who we've enrolled in training programs to employment opportunities. So with this strategy overview, and I'll go into these details, we're going to look at the competitiveness, the connections, local hiring, and hiring practices. So this is kind of what we have outlined to be our strategies towards making placement happen. And as Sharandra had mentioned, we love to get your feedback and community input on how we can strengthen these goals that we're looking to achieve. So when we look at competitiveness, we're looking at how can we organize the employers that we're working with so that they can connect better to talent pipelines. How can we provide earn and learn opportunities to students so that they connect to the workforce earlier? One of the big factors with this is thinking about a lot of our adult learners, or even just individuals or young people entering into training programs, typically have to work to provide for themselves. So with post-secondary training, whether they're going to a community college or if they're going to university or some sort of certification program, they're usually working either part-time or full-time to support themselves. So how can we help connect those individuals to employment opportunities related to their field of study? How can we build their resumes so that once they do graduate with some sort of certification or degree, they're ready to enter that workforce and enter that industry with background behind them? So with competitiveness, one of the big factors is hearing from employers what's necessary, what are their open positions, what are the areas that we should be targeting for this training. And then how do we connect them sooner? So that's providing employers interested, scaling up programs that they might already have. So with internships or summer jobs or apprenticeship programs, as well as developing new programs in those areas as well. How can we build curriculum out that's aligning with what those needs are in the classroom training so that it really is a work-based model. They're learning in the classroom and then they're doing the hands-on in the workplace. The other component of strategy 3 placement is the connection. So this ties very closely to 3.1 of competitiveness of how can we connect better to work-based learning activities and earn and learn opportunities. So one thing that we've put into place is industry sector partnerships. So for our targeted industries being healthcare, manufacturing, skilled trades, and advanced manufacturing. Oh, tech, I apologize, I listed manufacturing twice. Tech, how can we meet with employers who are hiring for those industries to really understand the labor market information, what their goals are in those hiring practices, what are the skills needed for those hiring practices to make sure that it's aligning to the training, and then also creating those relationships so that we can build out these work-based learning and earn and learn activities with them. How do we expand those internship programs? So I know that we have a few of you on the call. Amanda, I know you've been involved in our processes a lot and working with Workforce Solutions. I'd love to hear more. We're really moving towards this earn and learn process of getting students or learners connected quicker while they're in training. I know apprenticeship is a great model of that, but I'd like to hear, how do you see connections to employers branching out?
I agree that apprenticeship programs are great. We are technically not an apprenticeship program at this point, but we are able to get a lot of our current students into jobs while they're in training. We have quite a few employers that once they know that they're in training, are willing to work with them and work around their schedule. We also offer, like, our classes are in the evenings and in the mornings and on the weekends so that people are able to work while they're in training. We feel that if you're able to work while you're in training, that gives you context for what you're learning. And it really, every student that's doing that is just talks about how great it is to be able to work and go to school when they're able. And we do have a lot of employers that we partner with, and we also have had some of our students be hired by some of the connections that Workforce Solutions has with employers as well. And we kind of work together to try to get our mutual students into a job. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's very helpful. And I think this ties closely on the next slide too, of partnering with career centers, career counselors to tailor these activities. So one of the big things, and kind of what you had said, is like that awareness component of what you're working on and how employers can engage in that more meaningfully. So one of the big things with that is are employers aware of what training is happening, what talent pipelines are available to them, and how do we provide more awareness to those companies as well as to the individuals in making those connections. So a lot of students don't consider or think that they're able to enter into an industry before receiving that certification, but how can we map out that career ladder for them to show them some sort of entry level point? So when we're thinking about healthcare, they might be studying to become a nurse or some sort of technician position. How do we enter them into the workforce so that they're more familiar with the healthcare industry, building relationships with related employers, so that once they do graduate, they can immediately enter with some work experience and be able to gain higher earnings as well?
So I have a small comment on that. And one of the things that we also are able to do is soft skills training. So we focus a lot on helping students, make a good first impression, understand how to talk to employers, know what they want out of an employee, out of a position. And then of course, how to keep the job once they're there, how to be a great employee and things like that. So I think that's a super important component. It's not just this, hard skills, but it's also the soft skills, which I think every employer we've ever worked with has expressed. They really want good employees, not just people that know how to do stuff, but someone that can work well.
You're absolutely right. I know we just had an employer-led conversation and then for the manufacturing industry around our CPT, the Certified Production Technician program, identifying, how can we help increase placement of these employment opportunities for the students graduating from this. And one of the biggest things that we heard, feedback that we heard, was they have to have those soft skills, the foundational skills, to be able to enter any sort of industry at all. They have to be taught that as the program is progressing. And that's inclusive of even before they get into the position, that interview prep, timeliness or communication, things like that. That's so valuable just to get the job itself. So I think that's absolutely right. And I know we have Nikki Graham representing with the Austin Chamber today. I wanted to see maybe if you had any feedback from working directly with employers or even from an employer perspective of, how can we help make the connection into these employment opportunities a little bit easier for businesses?
Yeah, Amber, thanks for calling on me. And I think that, as you know, Tamara Atkinson has been engaged with the Austin Chamber, and we've formed a more thoughtful partnership between the two organizations about how we bring in employers into this conversation. Because as you mentioned, there's a lot of work that has been done in the past, but there's a lot more work to be done. Not only aligning those students who are perhaps going through a pathway through community college, through certification 2-year, but then also look at how our 4-year institutions play into that, and just in ensuring that we have kind of a comprehensive, robust talent force for all the companies who have decided to call Austin home.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, is especially thinking about it from a multi-prong approach. We're not just working with connecting students from certain programs, it's the whole environment, the whole ecosystem that we have to look at. And a lot of it is identifying, what are the skills needed for these in-demand, high-paying jobs, and how do we help individuals enter into the training needed, or if people are coming out of that training, how do we better connect them to that employment opportunity? So really building out the talent pipeline from multiple entry points and exit points. And I think that segues really well into the next slide, as well as providing opportunities for employers to be involved in these training programs. So providing feedback on, what are these training programs providing that are working for what their needs are in the workforce, and what are they doing that they might need some additional training on. What areas of improvement are there? So like I mentioned earlier with the sector partnerships in different industries, we try to align an employer panel of how can we better convene what these skills are across different positions for you, so that it has a greater impact as we're working with this higher local campaign. And then when we think about, in other industries, how can we help those individuals? A lot of employers, and I'm probably moving into my own strategy of upskilling a lot too, is how can we engage employers in providing training to their incumbent workers as well? So how do we get them more involved in making sure that the training is meeting that demand? The next part of this is the hire local for this strategy. So encouraging employers to seek local talent first to fill their entry level and middle skilled talent needs. So this is really valuable as we're looking at how do we expand the opportunities for Austinites here, as well as the employers here, to be able to get the talent in a faster way. It's really costly to be hiring from outside of the city, outside of the state, moving people in for companies. So it really benefits the local economy if we're able to make those matches a little bit sooner. And a lot of that, I think, ties back to the awareness component is do employers know what programs are happening here in Austin that are training for what their needs are, and then making that connection, as well as where are the people coming with the skills that already have them? How can we better connect them to employers as well? Another thing too that falls a little bit into the upskilling strategy as well is recognizing these employers for doing these types of achievements. So we have a Upskilling Heroes Award that recognizes employers for upskilling their incumbent workers, but that ultimately is keeping a local presence, local hiring there. So how can we recognize employers and encourage other employers to keep doing that as well? And as part of this, it's developing a cross-organizational platform for local candidate searches. So I know Workforce Solutions, we work very closely with the state job board, workintexas.com, to be able to monitor job postings or make job postings, as well as look for local job seekers and career seekers to help refer and match them to job openings. But how can we expand that, like to Nikki's point of thinking about how do we use other platforms like LinkedIn or Indeed, or partnering with other platforms that are available to find that local talent. And then in the next slide, looking at how do we
Sorry, that was me.
that's all right. No, on the next slide, you can go to the next one of assisting community-based organizations to really make those connections. So identifying and recognizing that training is happening everywhere, both in the job and with other local organizations. How can we better connect with those organizations as well? So Amanda, for what you were saying is recognizing, or before we had started the presentation, is recognizing how to partner with other community-based organizations that are doing similar work so that we're not duplicating our efforts. How do we align across the community so that we're all seeing improvement in these systems together? So I don't know if you had anything to add to that too.
I would just, I would just say that we can always improve in utilizing each other's resources to help our students meet their goals and ultimately meet our goals of having our students be successful, which success meaning graduating the program and getting into a well-paying job where they have an opportunity to advance. So I think that, like we were kind of talking about before, if there is an organization like Workforce Solutions or any other organization in town that offers assistance with childcare, or maybe offers assistance with rent, things that come up while students are in training that might inhibit their ability to be successful. So that maybe if they don't get childcare, they won't be able to finish their externship, for example, because they're not able to leave. Or if they can't pay their rent, they're not gonna be able to come to class because they have to find a way to get some money. So I think that those are paramount for us and for other organizations doing similar work to be able to, to reach our goals.
Definitely. And I think that's really applicable when we think about the people that we serve when we're looking at low-income individuals or individuals with barriers. How can we alleviate those barriers so that they can be successful? Childcare being one of them, or transportation, or access to technology. Those are huge things that come into factor when we're thinking about getting employment opportunities, and how can we help alleviate those through supportive services and systems. And thinking about that network of community-based organizations, if one organization isn't able to help with a barrier that an individual is facing, how can we help create a referral system so that another organization is able to alleviate that for them? And I think that is a huge factor in this work, and something for us to consider. How do we make those networks better and stronger so that we can serve somebody and not say, no, I'm sorry, we can't help you because of X, Y, and Z. But instead be able to say, we can't provide this assistance, but we are going to directly connect you to this organization that can assist you in this area. And I think that's having a better organization, better understanding of community-based organizations in the region and the great work that they're doing. So moving into the last piece of hiring practices, this is engaging interested employers in learning communities around diversity, inclusion, and impact hiring. So how can we help expand our employer network so that they can better connect to these programs, to these individuals that are looking for work? How can we create material that better explains what our goals are and what we're working towards, what the return on investment is for companies participating in things like this, and how can we really alleviate the challenges that companies are seeing from hiring or connecting to local talent pipelines. So I don't know if you guys had anything that you wanted to add or any feedback towards these hiring practices, or what you've seen in terms of engaging with local companies and getting them to hire local people.
I think one of the things that helps us is we have an advisory board, and on that advisory board, we have employers from all of the fields that we teach. So we've got medical assistant, electrical, and HVAC. And so we have employers in all those fields, and they can give us exact feedback about exactly what they are looking for in a good employee, what technical skills they're looking for. And they can help make our program more robust with that information. And I think that's been super helpful for us.
And Amber, this is Nikki. I mean, I would just add that I think that, as we see national employers continue to change their hiring practices, the larger companies that are, signing on to, say, for example, increase minimum wage. I think my former employer just announced that they're at $21 and going to $25. And there's going to be other things like that in terms of not only dollars, but also hiring practices, where companies are recruiting from, and just being more specific. And then hopefully some of that work that's being done at a national level will trickle down into communities like Austin.
Yeah, definitely. And I think being able to provide companies with labor market information so that they understand, what is the change of wage? What is that competitive amount? And that can help answer some questions of, why aren't people applying for my jobs, or why can't I fill these? Thinking about, what does that wage look like across their industry as well as across other industries, and how can we help make that more competitive for them? As well as also thinking about, what do those hiring practices look like, to Amanda's point of some of the barriers that people see. How can we help employers understand what that might look like, and open up a larger talent pool for them by thinking about how do we create change in their application process or things like that. So if we're thinking about technology and digital inclusion, how can we help make that more accessible for individuals that might not have access to those resources, or do they actually need a degree in something, or is it certain skills that those employers are looking for? So aligning more to what that labor market information is, as well as what employers are actually seeing in their day-to-day work. So before I conclude, I just wanted to see if you guys had any additional input in terms of placement or the employment opportunities. How can we help encourage and increase the local hiring as we're doing this work? And I know on the microsite, you're able to provide input there as well, but wanted to open the conversation and see if you guys had any additional thoughts that we could talk about.
You know, Amber, this is Nikki. I think the chat, and I keep trying to take my video off, so sorry, it's not working for me right at this moment. There we go. Okay. But I would just say is, you know, there are any number of initiatives that are getting rolled out, you know, that are really focused on, you know, that Workforce Solutions is a partner of, that a number of institutions are working on, and all incredibly wonderful, very positive solutions for Austin. And I think that your last slide on DEI is really going to be the key to how we move forward, because we can't do traditional workforce development as we have in the past. So we don't need to do 1970s workforce all over again. And we need to be very conscious of who is being steered toward which jobs, you know, starting in middle school, and just being really conscious of ensuring that this is, all of our work is around student choice, and it's around what students want to do in their careers and achieve their dreams, and ensuring that our post-secondary schools have the supports necessary for those students, that they're graduating college and career ready, regardless of what they look like or their circumstances, and then that we have the job opportunities and employers are hiring that diverse skill set throughout our community, and not necessarily relying on imported talent from other parts of the country to fill those jobs. I know this is a small group and we're probably all singing the same choir, but I mean, it's hard. It's
absolutely
hard.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think that that's what can help lead to really great conversation. This is a really important topic. And as we know, this higher local plan is the community's plan. We really want to make sure that we are putting in place strategies that this community can carry out. So now's your opportunity, based on what you've heard, or maybe what you didn't hear today related to placement. What would you like to see included in the higher local workforce development plan 2.0, or things you know that maybe don't work for this region that we don't need to spend any time on, or a brilliant idea that you have that we haven't considered. So you can go ahead and raise your hand or put your comment in the chat, or you can go down to the bottom and include on the Q&A box and enter your question there. And we'll give you just a moment to gather your thoughts or your brilliance or both. And we're looking forward to hearing from you. You know, it really, as people are putting their ideas down or formulating their questions or comments, it really struck me as a business owner how important those soft skills are. One of the things you said, and then the context for learning. So those apprenticeship or mentorship type opportunities, and, you know, how do we perpetuate that in our local businesses to ensure that people are getting not only the skills that they need in terms of knowing the technical aspects of how to do the job, but then also how do you play as a team? How do you work together? What is showing up to work look like? And so it's good to know that this is a comprehensive approach to workforce development, and we're looking at the entire human being and what they may also be facing in their lives, childcare, transportation, you know, all of those sorts of things to help them move their life forward. So I just, that was really interesting to me. I was listening as you all were talking and walking through the placement strategies in this plan. So I think I've tap danced enough to give folks an opportunity to provide questions or comments. So I'm going to check here in the chat to see if anyone has questions or comments to share with our illustrious panel presenters today. We do really appreciate you all, Amanda and Nikki and Amber. And I love the play and the back and forth with each other, the ongoing conversation. All right, so let me just call your attention back to the online portal that we have available to you to provide us with feedback as you're thinking about workforce solutions and our hire local plan. And Carmela's going to pull it up for us. The link is also in the chat. This is available to you 24/7. So if you're up at 3 in the morning with an idea or something that you forgot to ask, then guess what? You don't have to call us. You can just go online and you'll have an opportunity to give us your feedback. This is a microsite and it will walk you through all of the different elements of the workforce plan and also give you an opportunity to ask your question or comment. Staff does monitor this on a regular basis. So we're making sure we capture all of that good information that you're providing us. You know, we were doing these right before the September 29th Hire Local Summit. And so I had an announcement about the Hire Local Summit, but did anybody go to that was on today? Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool to see Judge Andy Brown in a hot air balloon and Chairman Brian Daniels pulling him down to earth to say, let's get to work. You know, it was a fun event. And of course, the amazing panel discussion on how we hire local and upskill in our community. So I'd love for you all to put that link in the chat for folks who may have missed it, who want to see that particular event. That really was one of the highlights of the workforce development plan, bringing together business leaders and community leaders and elected officials, employers in our area to talk about what's important and how we move the workforce plan 2.0 hire local forward. So with that, I think that's it. Amber, Amanda, Nikki, do you want to add anything else? Okay.
Sharonda, I'll just add, I thought it was a great event and very well done by you and your team. There was a lot of coordinating to do. So congratulations on that.
We had big fun. We had big fun. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nikki.
And yeah, thank you for letting us join the panel as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, ladies. Well, I will return you back to your day. We deeply appreciate your participation here this afternoon. And we want to make sure that everyone knows that your feedback and comments are welcome as part of this plan. This is the community's plan. And so we want to hear from you. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.